Hey everyone, welcome to the Lene Show. Thanks for tuning in. Today's episode is something very dear to me and also angers me a lot. So bear with me if you notice that I start to get a little riled up. The title of today's podcast is Fuck Your Abortion Ban. As everyone knows, if you have been on social media or you're just, know exactly what's going on, you know about the fact that Alabama is passing or attempting to pass a ban that makes abortion illegal for doctors to perform and for women to get. And of course, it's decided by a bunch of white men and a few dumbass white women that either, well, no, they've never been in a situation and also think that they should control how people feel, what goes on in someone's life. Just in case you don't know what an abortion is, it's the termination of a pregnancy. It's usually performed the first 28 weeks of pregnancy. They do have it past that. It's definitely not recommended to have an abortion past 28 weeks because it's very harmful to the mother. And definitely, if you know anything about abortion, it's not something you'd want to do to a fetus that far along. But they do have it past that point, but it's not recommended, and it's very hard to find a doctor to have an abortion past that time. I am pro-choice, just in case anyone was wondering. I have had an abortion. I've actually had two. I had my first abortion at 17, and I had it through Planned Parenthood. And if you follow my podcast, you know that I was indeed still a teen mom. I had my second daughter my first daughter, I apologize, at 19. But I did get pregnant at 17 and I had an abortion and I don't regret it. I did have it past 28 weeks also. So if I'm going to be honest, that is actually why I had my first daughter, because I didn't know anything about abortion. I'm just going to be honest with you. When I was 17, it when I found out I was pregnant, I was little bit before. So I was 17 when I got pregnant, but it was right before my 18th birthday, and I knew nothing about it. I didn't know anyone who had one. I wasn't even thinking about it, nothing. But I knew that I wasn't going to have that baby. One, because I had plans for my life, and two, because I knew my mom would be so disappointed in me, and I just was like, oh, I can't do this. So at that time, the internet wasn't too big. I knew a little bit about the internet. You know, if you were my age back then, we had AOL Messenger, and I don't even know if Google was at that time. I don't remember when Google started, but I didn't have a lot of access to find out what to do or what to go on. I didn't talk to any family member, not even my mom, to see what my choices were. The only person who I went to was a really good friend, another student, a girl my age, her mother had actually had her at 13. So I went to her immediately knowing that her mom was a teen mom, and not just a teen mom. I mean, 13, you're a baby. You know what I'm saying? So I went to her and confided in her, and thank goodness her mom was such an open and kind-hearted woman, and to this day I really appreciate the advice she gave me. She actually gave me advice to have my baby. You know, she said, obviously, being 13 and pregnant, she also thought about abortion, and her mom wanted her to have an abortion, but she just couldn't do it. It's just not, she thought about it, she weighed out her options, but she chose to give birth to her daughter. But with that being said, she let me know that the road wasn't easy, and that there were plenty of times that she was like, what did I get myself into? And so if I deep down inside didn't think that this was something I could handle or want to handle, it was my right. It was my choice. She wasn't putting on me the choice that she made, but letting me know that it was okay if I wanted to have the baby. Don't feel a kind of way about deciding that, but also don't feel a kind of way about not. It's your right. You have to do what's best for you. What was best for her was having her daughter, but she can't put that on me. She was just willing to be a confidant and a parent, and someone who was willing to listen to me and hear my thoughts. And I blatantly said to her that I didn't want to have the baby. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. And so she did point me in the direction of Planned Parenthood. She said it was around something like that was around when she was pregnant, and she gave me a number to contact, and I contacted them, and I went there and I sat with someone, and they were not, yes, have an abortion, that's right, because that's not all that Planned Parenthood is about. Planned Parenthood is also about young moms, old moms, rape victims, incest victims, molestation victims, everything. When you choose to have this baby, and what are your choices? Adoption, keeping the baby, abortion. They give you all of these options. They're not sitting there saying abortion, abortion, abortion. So when I went to Planned Parenthood, they gave me all of my options, and they even encouraged me to talk to my mom. A lot of parents, unfortunately, there are parents out there that disown their children. They're out there to pretend that no parent says screw my child. You're living in a fucking bubble, because they're out there. But there are parents who stick by their child and understand, listen, this is my child. They made a mistake. Now we have to go to the next step. We can't dwell on this. So they let me know, talk to your mom. You don't know your mom's reaction until you talk to them. So I was like, no, I'm not talking to my mom. We're about to do this. So once they knew that I was 100% on board with the abortion, they let me know the steps. The problem is when you're that age and you don't have a car, and your mom is pretty strict as my mom was, it was really hard for me to get back and forth to the Planned Parenthood that I went to. It was not located where I lived. I was living in New York, and the borough that I lived in did not have the Planned Parenthood. It was in another borough. So I was sneaking, pretending that I had after school activities, and it was hard for me to get there for the process. So if I'm just going to be completely honest, I had my abortion at 5 months. And I don't recommend it. I'm letting you right now, it was the worst experience of my life. I don't regret it. I just regret not talking to my mom because had I talked to her and let her know that this was my choice and that I wanted this, it would have been done at the proper time. But unfortunately, months went by. I couldn't get there, and it was really rough. It's a 2 day procedure when you have it that far along, and it's very painful, very, very beyond. It's, I mean, it's nothing unless you've done it that I can really explain. And the only reason that I even was able to go the second day is because I had to tell my mom. I had to tell her because um, the second day of the procedure was actually senior day at my school. And my mom was so excited. You know, your kid's a senior, you go to the school, they have this whole day filled event, and my mom was ready, and I had to tell her that we couldn't go. Initially I was gonna go, but then Planned Parenthood called my house, and I remember seeing them on the caller ID and saying, fuck, 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 I gotta get to that phone before my mom picks up. And they're like, where are you? Your appointment for the second half is already passed. And I was like, I can't go. Like, today's senior day, and my mom is super excited. And they was like, well, you're gonna die. You're gonna hemorrhage to death if you don't show up here. I need you to talk to your mom. And they told me if I didn't talk to my mom, that they would send police to my house so that they could talk to my mom because I basically would have died. And they can't have that. Like, you know, you're going to have to be grounded, but I'm sure grounded is better than dead. So, of course, I panicked, but I don't want to die. So, I had to sit down and tell my mom, and she cried, and she just was completely lost. Like, who are you? Who is this child in front of me that, you know, gets good grades, is a swimmer, is in ROTC, in all these clubs, and here you are pregnant, first stage of an abortion, and I know nothing. Like, how did you do all of this? And, you know, I was like, well, I don't think we have time to talk about this because we gotta go, you know. So she took me there, of course, and yeah, there were so many picketers out in front. It was crazy. But I got it done, and that was it. And I prayed on it, and I moved on with the rest of my life. And I enjoyed my senior year. And then, um, unfortunately, for my 19th, I guess, birthday gift. I don't know, because I banned myself from sex after that. I did not have intercourse. I was like, you're stupid. This was dumb. You know, this is not what you want for your life, and you need to be smarter. And so, you know, of course, I stuck to that. And then I I don't know what was going on with my eggs back then. I guess I was just fertile as a motherfucker because then, I engage with intercourse, sorry, again, and here I am 19 and pregnant, and I do have my daughter. But I want to be honest with you. I don't regret having my daughter, and I don't want to take anything from that, but I had her at that time, to be honest, because I thought all abortions were like that. I really didn't know that because I was so far along, that is why it was a 2 day procedure. That was why they had to do the procedure the way they did, and the pain. I didn't know. I didn't question it. They may have informed me of that. To be honest, I don't remember. But I said to myself, oh, hell no. That shit I can't do again. And it wasn't about the abortion part. It was just the pain and what I had to go through. I was like, oh, no, no, no. We're not about to do this again. So unfortunately, this baby is staying. And, of course, same thing. This time I told my mom with a counselor.